When I look at comments on YouTube about how gaming changed or has gotten worse over time, I get a little skeptical and I wonder, is it really as bad as people make it out to be? I mean, I can go ham on what the industry has become, but as you may know, that's only one side of the problem. In the grand scheme of things, gaming was never about how many titles we played or getting the best items in the entire game. It was always about the adventures we had with our friends and the insane situations we got ourselves into. It was always about the story and the thrill of the moment while being fascinated by the game's world. We think everything's under control until we're one hair away from killing the Elden Beast, and all of a sudden, he does a damn surprise attack and destroys our last sliver of hope. You see, this type of difficulty can make or break a player with sheer anger, and whether the controller is still functioning, at the end of the day it was all part of the fun, right? These challenges are all intentional by the game developers, and yet some people paint a brush and assume games in a genre are all the same. When people do this, it means they haven't been curious enough to diversify their taste, or weren't in the right mental space to resonate with the games properly. But what they don't know is the different game mechanics that sets them apart. The problems don't always stem from the actual game, but the ignorance of the gamer himself.
What did you say?
Keep in mind, this isn't a hate video or anything that's meant to insult anyone's way of doing things, so please bear with me. As I said in my previous video, when we're playing games, I think we have two different mindsets. One is to actually have fun for the sake of having fun, while the other is to escape reality, hoping to have fun. Now, being in both situations is fine most of the time, but there's a clear difference between them, right? For one thing, yes, you, the viewer, have problems whether you like it or not. You could be lonely, you could be bored. Your 9 to 5 may have drained the life essence you call a soul. You know full well that some of us use gaming as an escape, but what if I told you this way of doing things may actually make you less focused on your game?
What?
Have you ever got on Netflix and it suddenly became background noise while you're mindlessly doing something else? Well, it's kind of the same thing when we're playing games, except in our minds we're either zoned out or anxious about something like being jobless or not paying rent. My point is, it's hard to enjoy games entirely when our lives are slowly crumbling in the background. From my own experience, it's better when gaming becomes a sort of treat when we're slowly solving our problems. As we grow older, life randomly takes a dump and leaves shit stains all over the floor. And when we feel powerless to do anything about it, I think playing older games can have a positive impact on our minds. It reminds us of a time with less responsibility and good moments with loved ones. However, when the dust settles, holding on to nostalgia too tight can keep us from experiencing the good that can come from new products. Have you ever watched a new trailer and thought, this looks too different or too realistic for me? Well, I don't know how to tell you this, but you might have fallen prey to the old settling down syndrome. But now that I'm here, maybe there's a way to fix this.
Nurse, cancel my 1 o'clock.
You see, there's this lingering dark feeling that's been harboring inside of us, and I think you know it quite well, don't you? It's our own mortality! Oh my God! If you've been living under a rock this whole time, let me be the first to say, whether you like it or not, we're all running out of time, and at some point you'll have no choice but to be risky and try new things to keep yourself satisfied. My point is, rather than waiting for life to take a crap on you, how about you try new games during your comfortable times? You need to let go of your preconceived notions about how games should be and open up and experiment with what's new. But it is true that sometimes you have to be in the right place at the right time. But how can you be anywhere if you've never tried to move or create that space for yourself? Do you really want to take the blue pill and stay where you are and play the same genre forever? Or take the red pill and see how far the rabbit hole goes? In reality though, we really have two options based on this situation. One is to wait for a long time for the preferred game that you may or may not like, or two, try new types of games so that you're not bound by one style. I think it's also good to do this because every genre evolves over time, and so if you're in it for the long haul, it'll be good to be part of that experience. For example, in the FF7 remake, you'll notice the updated battle system is quite different from the original turn-based, but what made it kind of familiar to us is the pause feature while battling. This little modification made the transition from turn-based to action RPG a lot easier. The takeaway from this is you could actually connect the dots of similarities between subgenres. If you like RPGs, you'll probably like Metroidvania games. If you like Mario Bros, you'll probably enjoy Crash Bandicoot. Now if you like Final Fantasy, you'll probably like Dark Souls. Now don't get me wrong guys, I'm not saying it's bad to just play one genre. All I'm saying is I don't think it's a good idea for people to judge a game when they don't have experience playing the genre. This is especially true when it comes to gaming journalism. I get it though, gaming is an expensive hobby, and I wouldn't be surprised if cost is a big reason why people are less motivated to play. With these AAA prices, more and more people are switching to indie games. I've been playing titles like Sea of Stars, Celeste, and Hollow Knight, and I gotta tell ya, saying they're good is an understatement because you'd never expect such quality and creativity could come out from a smaller studio. It reminds us that each genre has limitless possibilities when it comes to innovating and thinking outside the box. We gotta give them a chance because we just might be missing out on something we never thought we'd love.
Well, duh.
I remember when I was a teenager in the early 2000s, I met one of my friend's grandma who happened to be an insane gamer. She was a big fan of Zelda games, and she was like a top tier completionist lady with all the old strategy guides. When I saw her play for the first time, my mind couldn't fathom or understand why she would have such a hobby. I didn't know that seniors could develop that sort of interest because at the time I really thought gaming was only meant for kids. But as I grew older, I realized she started playing partly because it's in her best interest to try new things to keep herself happy before time runs out. To be honest, I think a time limit can be a fuel to ignite our sense of exploration. Think about it for a moment. When we were kids, we were bombarded with family rules and school schedules. Yet under those limitations, why did it still feel like a thrill to buy and play new consoles and games? Sure, you could say friends and family are a factor, but I think it's all instinctual that we used whatever time we had to have fun. And obviously it didn't help having those sugary fueled moments. I think you know as well as I that the only reason gaming was enjoyable before is because we didn't focus so much on the genre's quality or anticipate the kind of gameplay they provide. So every new game we played, whether they'd be similar or not, felt fresh every single playthrough. We focused on the mission of the game rather than judging it in the process.
Dear God, it's beautiful.
Now that we look at our lives as adults, I feel like that spark with little expectations is what we need to have when we want to play new games. It should be for the sake of having fun, rather than putting it in a to-do list and treating it like another chore. When I started playing Elden Ring a few years ago, it changed my whole perspective on RPG games. It reminded me of the many lessons I needed to further understand, like never giving up when the chips were down, or being patient when grinding and finding gear to get stronger. To be honest, when I told my friends that I was playing this game, in some ways it felt like I was too late to the series. Their reactions were neutral and didn't seem like they were feeling excited for me. But later on, that's when it hit me. They've been playing Soulsborne games for a decade, and as painful as it sounds, I missed the moments where they were at their peak excitement when Dark Souls first came out. Because of my disinterest, I never shared those times with them. You see, that's one of my regrets I have, because instead of being part of the party, I just ignored their call and played games solo. So in a sense, I really can't blame them for reacting the way they did. I think when we're actively not interested like this, gaming in general starts to feel the same. So even in a social perspective, our friends are also a factor in the quality of our gaming experience. Now that we're at the end of the video, do me a favor and take interest in what your group likes, and I don't think you should take them for granted. Anyways guys, thanks for watching my video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe for more. See ya.